So the month is winding down, and that means it's time for the Maybe series. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex, and today is the September Maybe series. So this is just like a list of books that I compile that I might read in the upcoming month. I don't read this many books in a month. I usually read between 2 and 4 books a month, depending on my workload and like how I'm feeling and everything. So this is just like a potential TBR, or what I'm interested in maybe reading in the next month. Before we get into it, make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week, and all we do on this channel is talk about books. If you like listening to people talk about books, here I am every week doing just that for you. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I have been having just the worst week. I'm just really over it. I'm sure there's lots of people who understand exactly what I mean when I say that. So yeah, I'm just kind of over it, and I'm not having the best day. I'm hoping this will kind of put me in a better mood. I did struggle putting together this list because, like I said, I'm just not with it. And I'm having a hard time getting excited about September. Even though, like, September means it's 1 month closer to October, which is, like, my favorite month of the year, I'm in the in-between right now. And I'm struggling with saying goodbye to things and saying hello to new things, if that makes any sense. Anyway, we don't have to get into it. So let's talk about the books I might read in September. The first book on my list is Let Me Go by Chelsea Cain. Okay, so because I was kind of having trouble like getting motivated about my list and like getting excited about books, I kind of peeked back at my January or my 2023 reading goals, and I have not finished the series this year. And that was like a really big one. Like, I had a lot that were kind of like on the cusp of being finished, and I was like, if I just like read one from one of my open series like every other month, like I can finish like a couple of these. I haven't finished any of my series this year. So I went back through my series list, and this was the first one that jumped out at me because this is the last book in the Archie Sheridan, Gretchen Lowell serial killer thriller series. Okay, I've been reading this series for a long time because I absolutely love them. Book 4 was absolute garbage in my opinion. Okay, it wasn't absolute garbage, but it was like my least favorite book, and that really put me in a slump with this series. I read book number 5 this year. I read it this year. And oh my god, it made me fall all the way back in love again. And so this is the final book in this series. So if I finish this, that means that I will have finished this series that I've been reading for many years now. And on the one hand, that feels like a giant accomplishment. On the other hand, that feels like really terrifying. I don't know, like finishing things is very hard for me. Very hard. Just ask anybody that knows me in real life. Finishing things is very hard for me. So this will be very hard for me to do. But yes, I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready to read the last book of this series. I absolutely love this series. You can go back and check out my reviews of some of the other books. But if you like serial killers, if you like thrillers, if you like very flawed characters, this also has the female serial killer in it. This has just been a phenomenal ride so far. So yeah, hopefully I decide to take the jump and finish it. On that path of like open series, I also went with now I can't remember what this series is called. It's like this Legend of the One, something like that. The third book, which would be the final book in this series, is The Rise of the Magicks by Nora Roberts. The first book is called The One, I'm pretty sure. So this is a really nice mix of like science fiction, but also fantasy. You can go back and watch some of my reviews of this one too. It's really great. The reason I haven't finished it, again, because like finishing things is really hard for me, but the other reason is this last book is the biggest in the series. And I always shy away from bigger books because a lot of times I just don't have the amount of time that I think I do. And big books kind of scare me. Like, I know that sounds like really kind of juvenile, I guess, but they do, because if I end up not liking it, it's a real struggle to get through it, and I'll end up just dragging myself through it, and I just don't have that kind of time. Do you know what I mean? Also, just like committing to a big book is a big deal. Like, I like to be able to finish a book in like 2-3 days if I need to, and really big books, just I can't do it. I don't know. This is just, I sound so silly now that I'm sitting here talking about being afraid of big books, but here we are. Yeah, if I finish this, then it would be completing this, no, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'll put it up here what the series is called. I'll be finishing that series, and it's been a fun ride too. Like, book 2 was not my favorite, but I feel like that happens a lot with trilogies. Like, book 2 is just kind of like the stepping stone between the first one and the third one. I felt like book 2 had way too much happening that was way too important, but I didn't feel like we knew the character at all. If that makes any sense. I feel like the author wanted me to be more invested than I could be in this character. And the whole book was about her. This is a brand new character that we'd basically never met before. And it was really difficult because I was still hanging on to what happened to book 1. And for book 2 to basically be like its own separate thing was difficult. It's a difficult transition. So I'd be interested to see what she did for book 3. But like I said, maybe we'll get to it, maybe we won't. The next book on my list is The Words We Keep by Erin Stewart. Okay, I added this to like my TBR a long time ago because the cover and the description both reminded me of All the Bright Places. I loved that book, but it was like devastatingly sad. I haven't cried that hard in a long time reading a book. Premise of the book: teen finds her sister harming herself in the bathroom. Sister gets sent to some sort of an institution, something like that, and then she comes home. And I'm assuming that's where the story picks up, is her returning home from her institutionalized stay. And the sister, our main character, has to kind of navigate the path through her sister's recovery, but also navigate, you know, just being a teenager. She gets paired up with an interesting person during one of her classes, and they have to do a project together, and this is kind of like the movement of the story. Like I said, it looks like, and it sounds kind of like All the Bright Places. It also sounds like this book by Sarah Dessen. This is my absolute favorite Sarah Dessen book that I've ever read, ever. And if this book is like that book, then I'll love this book too. I haven't read YA in a very long time because I've just been put off by YA a lot recently. So maybe this would be a good way to like dip my toe back into YA a little bit. Like I said, if this is like the Sarah Dessen book, or if it's like All the Bright Places, then I would really, really love it. So I don't know, maybe I'll gamble on it. Okay, so after finding that, I remembered that I got a whole bunch of books on Stuff Your Kindle Day, and quite a few of them were thrillers. So I opened up my Kindle, and then I remembered I had this book sitting on here, Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. Y'all know how I feel about Riley Sager. Talked about Riley Sager a lot on my channel because I absolutely love Riley Sager, and I have not really been disappointed by anything that he's done. So I got this book on like free Kindle Day or something, or free ebook. I don't know. I had like a whole bunch of points and I got a bunch of free books. And this was one of them. And so this has been on my Kindle for a long time, and I've just been like meaning to read it, and I kept forgetting. I'm gonna be honest, I read the synopsis and like it sounded a little bit complicated. Couldn't really figure out what the direction of this book was supposed to be, but it sounds kind of like a paranormal book, but also like a serial killer book, kind of. Yeah, which isn't really super surprising because sometimes Riley Sager does have that edge to it, that edge of like paranormal but thriller. So, I mean, I'm not really that surprised that it kind of sounded like that. But I'll be interested to see if it ends up being that. This has very mixed reviews. Like, But I feel like all of Riley Sager is like that, because I feel like you either really like his stuff or it's just like meh, like you don't like it that much at all, or it's just you consider it boring. But since I like Riley Sager a lot, I feel like I'll probably like this too. I don't know. I already have this in my possession, so there's like, I don't have to wait for it, you know. There's not going to be like a transitional period where I'm trying to get it from my library or anything. It's in my possession now, and I like Riley Sager, so it would be easy for me to just pop this open and start reading it. Okay, so after I looked at the Riley Sager book, then I looked through all of my Stuff Your Kindle Day books. A lot of them were kind of like holiday steamy books. I'm gonna save some of those, but some of them were thrillers, and so I kind of looked through each and then I picked one from each section. So from my like romance or like steamy section, I guess you would say, I got Cinderella by St. Lynn. This was the only one that wasn't like holiday themed. So this is supposed to be like BIPOC trans Cinderella. Sign me up, okay? That sounds amazing. I knew that I picked some good ones on my Stuff Your Kindle Day, but I picked a lot, so it's kind of like it all blurred together. I'm really glad I picked this one. It's super short. Like, I could probably read it in one sitting. It's already sitting on my Kindle. I'm like already a little bit excited about it. Like, this sounds great. That's all I read into the description. I didn't need to read any more into the description. I read like the first 2 lines and I was like, yeah, I'm adding that to the list. That sounds great. So yeah, this is on there. Oh, I said I picked 2 from my Stuff Your Kindle. I didn't. I don't know why I said that. I'm so sorry. I did look through my thrillers on my Stuff Your Kindle finds and stuff, and a lot of them were really, really long, and I couldn't. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get a second really big long one, and most of them were series, and I was like, you really need to not open the door to another thriller series. Like, I do need to close out some of my other thriller series before I step into other ones. So the combination of them being series and being really thick, I was like, okay, I need to go a different way with it. So I went with The Dark One by Nikki St. Crowe, because this is sitting in my audiobook app right now. It's sitting there. I listened to the last one, which was The Never King, which is book 1 in this series, last month. I absolutely love the audiobook format of it. It was really quick. It's a pretty short book. The same goes for this one. It's sitting in my audiobook queue right now, just waiting for me. I loved the narration on the last one, so the narration on this one is probably going to be really great. And this one has even better reviews than the first one. So I feel like it's like a no-brainer. If you don't know, you can go back and hear my review of this one, of the first one of this series. But this is a dark, smutty Peter Pan retelling. The first book was delicious and I loved it. And the second one, I'm assuming it's going to be more of the same. More adventures in Dark Neverland. A lot of these books, like half these books I already have in my possession. So it's like, if I can just get a crack at it early in September, instead of procrastinating like I did this month and last month and the month before that, then maybe I won't be so overwhelmed by my TBR. So yeah, half of these being in my possession right now may be the best option. As always, there's a spot on my monthly lineup for my book club book. I run a book club. Make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week. And let me know in the comments if there's anything that you would suggest to me to read in September. If you're excited about books that you're reading in September. If you're excited about books in October. If you guys don't know, October is my all horror month. So I read only horror books in October. I'm really excited about it. I'm already starting to like compile my list and like start thinking about it. So yeah, I'm really excited. So if you have any horror recommendations for me for October, go ahead and put them in the comments. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. So I will see you guys next time. Bye!